not a huge amount. And we said that this was tough on engines, on tyres and on brakes, and it's tough on Gutierrez as he is out of the race. His second race in a row that he too has not finished. As we quickly go down to you, Ted.
Yeah, because of this new brake-by-wire system, not only are the rear brake calipers down from 6-piston to 4-piston, but also the discs are much thinner, because all the teams think that the KERS system can actually help slow down the car. So what happens? We get to the circuit, which is the biggest test of brakes in the season so far, and they all start to fail at the rear.
Thanks, Ted. Daniel Ricciardo is about to set his fastest lap of the race. See him there behind Nico Rosberg, and the gap is below a second, 7/10 between Ricciardo and Rosberg. 3 laps to go. Sergio Perez can see Red Bull and Sebastian Vettel in both of his wing mirrors. Felipe Massa looks ahead and thinks, you know what, with a bit of luck I might be able to get both cars here. But Massa on fresher tyres is just stuck in that 5th place at the moment. Nico Hulkenberg.
Checo, stick with it. There's just 3 laps to go after this one. We're looking at it. We are looking at the issue.
The gap back to Hulkenberg, 2.5 seconds, and Bradley Joyce, a calming voice on the pit wall at Force India, trying to nurse Sergio Perez home for what would be a second podium of the season, of course.
So Perez definitely was the cork in the bottle we talked about, and it has released Ricciardo. Is it too late? Can he do anything about it? He's a bit slower in the middle sector. In fact, he's 2/10 slower on this lap altogether, and Rosberg continues to do his sensational job up front.
Adrian Sutil gets out of the way, and because he was coming up behind a lapped car, Sergio Perez will get DRS assistant, and look, here comes Daniel Ricciardo on Nico Rosberg. Ricciardo takes the lead in Canada. Unbelievable. The Red Bull driver moves into the lead of a race that they came to Canada thinking they've got no chance of winning. But you know what? As the crowd cheers massively, it just might be a second Red Bull victory in 2 years, and it might be Daniel Ricciardo's first ever win in Formula One. He's got 2 laps remaining, and Rosberg's stellar job with 2 laps to go. Oh, the lead has expired for him.
Yeah, had enough DRS, and with Rosberg's VMAX top speed problems, that was an easy take in the end. So that'll frustrate Sebastian Vettel. I don't think Rosberg will be that upset about it, because frankly, if he gets 18 points, that's 18 points more than it looked like he was going to be getting half an hour ago.
Absolutely, but for Daniel Ricciardo in his 57th Grand Prix, the win is now tantalisingly close. For Sergio Perez, the podium is still possible. And Sebastian Vettel and Felipe Massa are going to be going for it too. Vettel gets a really good exit coming out of the hairpin. Red Bull have just gone into the lead. They might have another car on the podium as well. As we look, Sergio Perez onto the dirty side goes Sebastian Vettel. It's wheel to wheel. Vettel's going to have the inside line into the chicane and gets past Sergio Perez. Going into that chicane, it's Red Bull 1 and 3 as we head to the final lap.
Good stuff there. Vettel taking the right line.
Oh, and Felipe Massa goes into the back of Sergio Perez, and that is a massive crash into the barriers. Massa clipped the back of the Force India. The marshals rushed to Massa to make sure he's okay, and to Perez as well, who had absolutely no chance once contact had been made. And I really hope that both drivers are okay. There's a thumbs up from the marshal. Perez moves in the car. But what a horrible moment that was for both Felipe Massa and for Sergio Perez. We are going to finish behind the safety car. Felipe Massa is moving as well. And we are picking up a first ever win in Formula One for Daniel Ricciardo. And thankfully, the medical car will be picking up 2 drivers that are moving, and from the outside at least, look okay.
Yeah, Felipe trying to get out of the car. I think we're just catching his breath. Those cars are so well designed for that kind of accident now, in terms of the crash testing they do at very high speed down into there. And this man then will win a very, very thrilling Grand Prix. And where will Jenson Button then? Jenson Button will come home in 4th.
Nobody can overtake you. You're going to win the race. Just stay positive on the Delta, mate.
He's going to win the race. Daniel Ricciardo becomes a new winner in Formula One. The team rush out to applaud him home. Mercedes failed, Red Bull pick up the pieces. It is Daniel Ricciardo that comes home to take the victory. It is Nico Rosberg that takes second place. A stellar drive from Rosberg under all sorts of pressure, but he just couldn't keep it going to the end. Sebastian Vettel makes it a Red Bull 1 and 3 after the crash between Massa and Sergio Perez undoes what great work was already done between those two drivers. Jenson Button comes home to finish his highest race of the season in 4th place for McLaren, or I should say to equal his highest finish. He got promoted in Canada, didn't he, into 3rd. And I tell you what, Sebastian Vettel was so lucky he didn't get wiped out in that crash as well.
It looks as if, let's have a look. It looks like Perez moved slightly left. Well, you can't see from that angle. But we know he was struggling on the brakes anyway. And it's quite clearly caught out Felipe Massa.
Well, let's look from this angle.
Looks a bit 6 of one, half a dozen of another there, doesn't it? They move towards each other almost.
And this is what it's felt like for Perez. Oh, hands off the wheel, just a passenger.
Oof, that stopped in a hurry, didn't it? The conveyor belt there on the tyres it's a very basic solution in some respects, put together in a very specific way, and it did a great job, but pain for Williams. Instead of a great result there, they've got a wrecked car, and same for Force India.
Well, for Nico Hülkenberg, it's a 5th place. Fernando Alonso picks up 6th. Valtteri Bottas 7th. Jean-Eric Vergne 8th.
You've won the Canadian Grand Prix. Well done, your first win. Wow.
Well, big celebrations there down at Red Bull. Never previously scored a point here in Canada, and he picks up 25 today, Daniel Ricciardo. Jenson Button must have had an absolutely mighty end to the race.
Yeah, he was flying.